film starts off with just a minute of learning about this pirate called Woonan, the Great Gold Pirate, who stole one third of the world's gold and only stole it from evil people, which is an interesting thing to start off, as it was similar to learning about the whereabouts of the One Piece for the actual series that comes on before the opening. And then after this little short clip about we learn about Ronin, we actually see the original opening, which is nice to see, so it's like a long episode. After that, we see our protagonists, the Straw Hat crew, sailing along when they eventually meet the protagonist of this film, El Drago, who has this really weird devil fruit power. And basically, they're drawn into this island where supposedly Ronan, the great gold pirate, hid his treasure, and he's supposed to be hidden away. The story itself is a very generic story in terms of pirates. I mean, you have two different pirate crews fighting against each other, competing against each other for treasure on an island. You have a young boy who actually joins the Straw Hats during the film, who's rebellious against his grandfather, and he doesn't want to follow his ways and wants to run off to be a pirate. Then you have the grandfather himself, who's trying to stop him, wanting him to be his successor to his business of a restaurant. And it's very basic, very generic sort of story, but it's entertaining nonetheless. In terms of the characters, we have our usual Straw Hat pirates: Luffy, the idiotic captain; we have Nami, the gold-loving cat thief; Usopp, the cowardly liar; and Zoro, the badass swordsman who gets lost a lot. Those of you who are fans of the One Piece series, manga or anime, would basically know that much. The new characters that they introduce into this film, such as Tobio, the young boy, very generic. He wants to be a pirate, so he wants to join Ronan's crew, the greatest pirate, or one of the greatest pirates, known in the East Blue for stealing gold. You have Ganzo, who turns out to actually known Ronan when they were younger, and there's a whole backstory on that, which is really interesting, I actually thought. And then there's also El Drago, the main protagonist in this series, or movie, not series, which is really, his design is really weird. He's like a cross between a lion and a bear. Like, they don't really explain what he is, you're just supposed to go with it. Like, his nails are made out of gold. It's really weird. He's really obsessed with gold. He absolutely loves it. It's all he ever thinks about. And he has a devil fruit just like Luffy's, except it's basically like Gyarados from Pokemon's Hyper Beam. That's pretty much what his devil fruit is, and it's really unusual. But in terms of those three characters that I just mentioned, they aren't very new. They're very generic for these types of films, so they aren't that interesting. Now, those of you who do not know, this is only in the original Japanese language. This has not been dubbed at all, officially at least. So those of you who only watch anime in dub, unfortunately you'll have to watch it in the subbed. But the sub is great. The Japanese voice actors, they have the original One Piece voice actors for it. They do a great job. The people who do the voices of the antagonist, Ganzo, Tobio, they're doing a great job. They also have the music from the One Piece anime brought in, which is nice to hear in the movie, but I would have preferred maybe if they just added maybe one or two songs, just to make it more new, something fresh. But I suppose just stick with the classics maybe. Maybe they thought it wouldn't succeed just because the first movie, I don't know. But it would have been nice to hear some new music. But hearing the original music from the anime is still good to hear. And I especially love the fact that they actually had the first ending music in the movie at the end of it, which I love that ending. I think it's absolutely great. The animation in this film is very dated, and it doesn't really hold up in terms of like comparing it to the series or any of the other movies, because it does look a bit faded. Yeah, the good thing though is that they don't really change the style of the drawing of the characters, so it still sticks to the One Piece original design. What's not great about it is that if you compare it to other anime movies that came out though at that time, like a couple of the Pokemon movies that came out at the time, Pokemon 3 I believe, and Mewtwo's Return. There was also a Case Closed, Captured in Her Eyes came out the same year. This is the year 2000, by the way. The animation compared to this were a lot higher standards compared to this movie, and I think that's where this film like lets down a lot for me, including the story. The story is very generic. There's not really a lot pulling that through, apart from the humor, which a lot of One Piece fans will love. But animation, it's not very strong. It's very dated if you compare it to the movies that come later on, but a good thing is that they actually improved on that since this movie, which is great to see. So the animation is a bit dated, but if you do like the animation, like that sort of style, like from the 90s and that, I would definitely recommend checking this out just to see that. My final verdict for this movie is that if you're not really a big fan of One Piece and you're looking for maybe something to try and get you into it, don't really start with this movie because it doesn't really give you a good feel of the movie. And I kind of think that with these long running shows, like Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball, of course One Piece, like I'm talking about, I think the movies maybe should be trying to drive you into getting you into the series. And this movie isn't great if you don't know anything about One Piece and you're just watching it just for the sake of it. I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that. If you're a fan of One Piece already and you haven't seen this movie, I would recommend checking it out. Or if you're a fan of pirates, this is a very classic pirate adventure. It's great for that. Two pirate crews competing for gold. A very interesting ending, predictable but enjoyable. The story itself, it isn't very strong. It is very basic with two crews competing for the gold, but what really drives it is the humor from the characters, from Usopp, from Luffy, Zoro, Nami. The humor from the series really gets into this movie, and you can see it come through quite clearly. And I think that's why it's aimed more towards the One Piece fans, because they'll get it more because they've seen the series, they've read the manga, and you understand their humor more, you understand their nature. Whereas if you're new to anime or new to One Piece, you decide to watch this film, then I would say it's not the best thing, because you won't understand, oh, why is he like that, and why is she like that, and why is he saying that, or stuff like that, really. But as a final verdict for this film, I really want to give this like a really high scoring, but judging from it, I would give it about 5.7. And I'm a huge One Piece fan, but it isn't a great film. The music isn't anything new, though. It is strong because they use it in the series, and it's very great to hear. In terms of voice acting, the Japanese do a brilliant job as always, terrific work. But in terms of animation and character wise, it's not very strong, and the story, it doesn't keep you hooked. The only thing that really kept me hooked was the fact that you see more of the One Piece characters in an adventure, you see more of their humor, you see them in more of a situation, and it's great to see that. Other than that, I don't think I would have watched it. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and I hope for you to check out more of my videos that I've done, and hopefully videos that I'll do in the future. And I'll see you next time. Bye.